So Tabby, Jess, you're joining myself and Charlie to talk all about body image, a subject which I guess it is a bit of a hot topic at the moment, isn't it? Because I think women historically have always, you know, looked at their bodies critically, but I think in the age that we're in, with what you see behind me, with Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of the social media, we put ourselves under this microscope, don't we? Sometimes it can affect our behaviour. So I think today we just want to have a really open conversation about ourselves, about our bodies, our friends' bodies, women's bodies that we may be looking at and admiring, and just I guess how it affects us in 2017. We're going to be getting messages in from Radio 1 via these trusty phones to keep the conversation going. But I wanted to kick off with this statistic that I have, which is nearly half, that's 47%, of girls have tried to lose weight by the age of 17. Now, I can put my hands up and say that I know when I was 16, bizarrely, I didn't think I was fat per se, but I thought you could be a bit thinner. Do you guys relate to that?
Yeah, I definitely did. When I was on NCS, the action thing, I actually spent the first week completely pretty much cutting out food to try, and because I was being really active, I tried to lose weight during that. So I dropped a dress size in like a week. Was not sensible at all. Don't try it. But yeah, I can definitely relate to that statistic. It was good that all my mentors and everything noticed, and they were like, this is not safe, this is not healthy. Like, you can't do this in this way. But yeah, I can definitely say I'm part of that statistic.
Got text.
Oh.
Surprise! It says, do you ever compare yourself to others, and how does it make you feel if you do?
All the time. All the time.
All the time. It's impossible not to.
Like, you say you don't, but you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think especially like in the industry that we work in, like, you know, it's impossible not to, because that's really like what a lot of kind of celebrity lifestyle and celebrity culture is sold on. It's sold on like who looks the best, who looks the worst, who's gained weight, who's lost weight. That's the way they push the whole world, and the way that people tap into that world. So I think it's really only human, like in any walk of life, to compare yourself to people who do the same thing as you, people that you're around, and I think, you know, obviously it's not healthy, like especially when you go really deep in. And I feel like some days I do go really deep in, and I get really like upset about it, and I'm like, I'm not as pretty as these people, or I'm not as this as that. But then I think I just put it into perspective and think about really like who I am as a person, and, you know, what I have to offer, not in comparison to anyone else, but just as my own person. And also, like, I remember when I was in school, like, I would always think about like the popular girls and how like good they looked and how cool they were, and how I was not one of them, and like it felt like such a big deal. It was like, this is gonna be my life forever. Like, these 5 girls who sit on the same table at lunch and they're so cool. Like, this is.
You actually went to school with the plastics.
Kinda, yeah. And this is like my life, like consuming. And now I'm like 25, and I'm like, oh, that seems so stupid now. But then there's like things that replace that in life, like, you know, other people that you compare yourself to, and I think you just have to put it into perspective. Like, when I'm like 80, am I going to care? No, I'm going to think about like the good things that happened in life, and the experiences that I had, not those times where I was feeling massively insecure. Like, life's too short, and it's hard to tell yourself that, but I think you do have to keep kind of reminding yourself of that.
Well, I got a text. What one tip would you give that has helped you to learn to love yourself?
Oh, that is a good question. Joe, I think it harks back to what you were saying, you know, is that you can only be the best version of yourself, and there really is no point comparing yourself to other people, no matter how hard it is. I've really had to learn that the hard way. It's something I still battle with, to be honest, like daily, but
I think it's something everyone
Yeah.
always battle with. I don't think you can ever like fully say, I'm never going to compare myself. I'm completely happy with who I am. Like, I think you're always going to have that little bit of something that you feel like, I could improve that, or I could make that better. But
I personally, it's a bit of an unpopular opinion. I don't think you can point to something in yourself and say it's a flaw, because it's not a flaw. as I said, we're not objects. It's not like we have a scratch on a table and it could be shined up to make it better. Like, you can't do that with a body, because what you have is yours, and that's why it's so beautiful. Like, it's yours, nobody else's, and that's why you can't compare it. And as you were saying, we all said we compared one another. It's a vicious cycle. Everybody would say they compare. If one person stopped, 2 people stopped, 3 people stopped, the cycle wouldn't run. Do you get what I mean? Like, because everybody says they compare people and everyone says they're unhappy, and then you're like, well, if we're all like this, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, and also more on a more like simple level, appreciate yourself for the things you have inside. I think that's really, really key, because then we genuinely, like, the first thing with anybody is outsides and things, and that's what we pick apart if we look in the mirror, or we're always focusing, if we walk into a room, we don't think, oh, am I going to smile, am I going to radiate like happiness, and am I going to maybe like think about what I'm good at before you go into a room? No, you think, oh, my hair.
Right on. And on that note, ladies, thanks very much for the conversation. Hope to do it again soon sometime. Yeah. Let's just stay loving ourselves.
Yeah.